her actual flow chart is perfect.
Oh,
So
I want to do a shout out for Oli, who's keeping his pimp paw ready and right on cue.
okay, this is great.
Oli's not having Becca's crap right now. Becca, stop annoying the cat.
He didn't do anything.
Look at that face. He is not having this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Track Packer podcast. As we are here, I am your
Oh, I
temporary
don't have my flags.
Jessica, and we are joined by John Breckel of John Breckel Announcing LLC and Becca Pelkey of Reba's
Or
Reba's beanies and power walking. And we're again being joined by our very own Collinsworth, Mason Eisenzimmer.
My name's not Reba.
you are Rima.
No.
And with that, I will hand it over to our very own host, Mason. How are you tonight?
Doing great. It's a great week. It's been actually pretty hot the last couple of days where I'm at. I don't know what it's been for you guys over in the Bismarck area, but the weather's been pretty seasonably warm. Might not be that way this upcoming weekend, but we'll see.
We're going to need parkas.
Yeah, unfortunately, might be beanie season officially soon.
And
It is. Becca is bringing beanie season back
yep. And hoodies.
and hoodies.
Gonna need a couple hoodies, I think, this weekend.
And all of my jackets.
Oh, specifically your
Including
jackets.
a heater.
Yeah. I might just bring a heater. That'd be kind of fun. Just put a heater up in the stands.
I did actually talk about that with Becca on Saturday night. I was like, should we just grab one and put it up in the tower area?
That would be funny.
Well, it'll be a party up in the announcers tower up in Jamestown. Want to thank our presenting sponsor, Hitch Harness and Tyler Hall out of Fertile, Minnesota. This is the time of year, especially when you're looking at upgrading things in the off season, or if you're a receiver truck hitch owner, check out hitchharness.com to check out all their products. They have multiple colors and styles of the hitch harness to choose from. You can check out the racing inventory, which includes chassis dollies and pull bar brackets. Might make it a great Christmas or holiday gift for someone out there. And so thank you so much, Tyler, for supporting us on the podcast. Again, hitchharness.com is where you can find all his stuff. So the lineup this week, after a little bit of a review of the last podcast, here's the lineup for this episode. Jessup is on the pole once again, followed by myself, Mason, then John Breckel, and Miss Becca Pelkey rounding out the lineup. So Jessup, let's go back to you. How are you doing, sir?
You know, it's tough being on the pole, but you know, somebody's got to be there for us. So might as well be the head honcho.
Might as well. You had a really good episode last time. Stayed pretty clean and green for the most part, and had some carnage that we had to avoid. But
Well, you know, when you get John and Becca on the track, there's always bound to be some carnage somewhere, and you just gotta.
This is true.
You gotta just put the car up high and let her eat, and just stay clean and green the rest of the way, or finish under caution because of a time limit.
right. Yeah, being out front is sometimes the best place to be in some of these races. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. So I'm excited. We had a really nice Oktoberfest. We're going to recap that here just a little bit. So that was kind of fun to be out the racetrack again. First time, Mason, that the two of us have actually been on a microphone in over a month. So that was kind of exciting to get back on the mic again. Um, I was a fan for about a month, which was fun too, but it was nice to be back on the mic. And then yeah, it's rescheduled Stampede weekend this year, and it is going to be in true fashion, I think, Stampede related weather. It looks like overall though, like weather-wise is decent, other than maybe temperature on Friday. But yeah, I'm excited for this upcoming weekend to end
Absolutely.
racing season for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was definitely nice to be on the mic. It was definitely a nice change of pace, and kind of had to shuffle things a little bit with the racing schedule this last weekend, with thanks to weather once again. Becca, how are you doing?
Good. Just gearing up for this upcoming stock car stampede weekend. As you mentioned, last weekend was Oktoberfest. Didn't exactly go as planned, but we made the best of it, turning it from a 2-day one show over 2 days. We made it just one complete show over one day, due to some rain that we received on Friday morning. Just made a muddy mess of things at the track. So unfortunately, we had to postpone Friday's racing program. We put it all into one day on Saturday, and we had over 222 cars, a new track record for Dakota Speedway. So it was super cool to see the pits just jam packed full of cars. Great racing action out on the track, and it was overall just a really fun weekend hanging out with friends, meeting new friends, and it was just a super fun weekend. But gearing up for the stock car stampede, it'll be my last race of this year, as far as I know. You never know where life will take you, but yeah, last race of the year right here in North Dakota for the 2023 season.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely a fun weekend. We're going to be excited to kind of recap all of it here in just a couple of minutes. Before we go back into our main episode, be sure, as always, like the video, comment, share your thoughts on the racing weekend this past weekend. It was definitely jam-packed full of stuff. If you're in Mandan or outside of the state, definitely a lot of racing action to take in, and kind of some season-ending thoughts that we might have here. And so we'll drop the green flag and officially starts episode number 31 of season 2 with Who or What Are We Repping? I'll kind of kick things off because I just have a quick one here, and I'll give a shout out to one of the drivers that raced over at the Madtown Showdown, and he ended up with the feature win. They raced for $1,100 in the street stocks, and Andrew Hansen from Iron River, Wisconsin, was your winner. And so this is, I believe, his 2021 paint scheme. So yeah, gotten to see Andrew quite a bit over the summer, racked up a few wins, and yeah, he's like, him and his family are really nice to talk to. Really love traveling over towards Minnesota, out from the Iron River, Wisconsin area. He lives more close to Ashland, so he's not really close to any like street stock tracks. So he has to make a haul pretty much wherever he goes. But it's really quick wherever he ends up. And congratulations on the win at the Madtown Showdown. We'll move over to Jessup. Who or what are you repping?
Well, Mason, I continue my season-long theme of irrelevance, because sometimes it's just how it's got to be. You got to be irrelevant, and you got to stay within your realms and your boundaries. And this time, I am representing the Madras Speedway
Madras, I
of
think.
Oregon. And they've got a little bit of everything out at that track. This is kind of a fun shirt. It's got a cool little design on it. And try to turn. And you can see it's got late model, sprint cars, other stuff on it, and modified as well. And they're still open. Not a whole lot on my race pass, but they do go on my laps. And yeah, that's kind of about all I took time to look into it, because it's irrelevant, and we're wrapping up our irrelevant season.
Yeah, definitely. The last thing that's on my race pass is from 2019.
Yeah, they only got one race there. Let me see if I still have this up.
Yeah, never heard of that track.
So they just ran juniors, whatever that may be. Late models, mini trucks, modifieds, PHRA, PMSA, and sportsmen's and sprints at their last race. So they got a lot going on here, and kind of interesting. Just a little interesting track.
Yeah, sounds like a different assortment of classes. Probably some that we've never even seen before. I know when we had the one episode when you with the track down in Louisiana, when they had like mini wedges and all that sort of stuff, I was like, man, these are goofy cars.
Let's pull it up real quick here, Mason. Let's see, Madras Speedway. Let's see.
Well, while you're pulling it up, I'll give Becca a chance to list off who she's repping.
All right. So instead of trying to tie in who I'm repping for this upcoming weekend, I think I'm just gonna define it as what I'm probably gonna be wearing this weekend, because it is supposed to be in the 50s as the high on Friday. We might get the 60s on Saturday, but either way, that is like in the daytime with the sun out. So when the sun sets, it's gonna be pretty chilly. So more than likely, you'll catch me in a hoodie. Might be this one. We don't know. Depends what I pack. But tonight, I am repping the Troy Morris III brand new 2023 merch. He's out of Bakersfield, California, currently calling Iowa home as he's racing down with Jeff Akey. But I thought this was a pretty cool hoodie when I saw this on the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. Something completely just new and different that I've just never seen when it comes to racing t-shirts. Obviously, playing on the Bakersfield, California, just like beachy theme, but really cool. I really like it, and it's really warm. I might have to wear this on this weekend at the Stock Car Stampede, but pretty cool. But oh, and I'm also repping Sheldon Hod and Shields. I guess you could call this like a musky lure beanie style. It's really sequiny and shiny and sparkly.
It's definitely a beanie.
Yes, it is. I wore this to the Tri-County Speedway a few weeks ago for their Sauerkraut 500 weekend, and my dad's like, I can see you a mile away. I was like, oh, wasn't the point of why I wore it, but at least Jess can find me when I'm trying to hide from him when he says it's time to go home. Maybe I won't be wearing this one, but you know.
I was just say she might not be wearing that one Friday night.
If
Then
I'm having way
I
too
just
much
have
fun
to
in the
look for my
pits.
own clothing, John.
This is true.
Also, I have my heated vest. The battery packs are charging for this weekend, so I won't be complaining about how cold it is. I'm gonna be nice and toasty up in the announcer's tower.
You'll be wearing my vest, her vest, my jacket, my other jacket,
I was gonna say 2 jackets.
probably my
No.
beanies.
We'll probably bring back
I-
that Stampede picture from back 2018.
No,
Probably.
I've been
Do
investing.
you think we
Probably
can
recreate
do
that for Becca.
Jason, can
No.
we do another one like that?
No,
We could
no.
recreate it.
We should. That would be hilarious. Or we could do last year's Stampede photo where Becca napping at Johnny B's.
Oh yes, we've got that one
Oh,
too.
we got that picture too.
Yeah.
No,
She
I've
had
been
a hard day.
investing in like cool weather Under Armour like stuff. So won't be cold. Gonna be nice and warm on this rather chilly weekend at the Stock Car Stampede.
I like how she had the disclaimer that she might be in a hoodie, even though the temperatures might be in the 60s, because she's in a hoodie when it's 85 degrees out.
And when it's 90, she's in a hoodie. So I mean, she'll be in 2 hoodies at least when it's 60. And if it's down like, mid 40s at that time for race time, she'll definitely be in, even more layers than that.
But anyways,
Well-
She might even be in multiple beanies by that time.
Well, John and I have been talking game plan, like strategy and how to stay warm for the Stock Car Stampede. We have an idea. So I might not be as cold as we all think. Could be
This
sweating.
is true. We do have an idea.
interesting. Be interesting to see how this
Colder.
plays out this weekend. Well, that's
Hopefully
it's
no
still
fires are started.
Oh, there's going to be so many fires.
So many fires. We'll probably blow a couple sockets and everything else. It'll be fine.
Oh gosh. Well, cool sweatshirt, Becca. Jessup, did you find any more information on Madras Speedway?
Yes, they run actual trucks.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, so it's not like NASCAR trucks, but like out on the road trucks with roll cages.
like pickups.
Yeah,
okay.
well, that's kind of the weird, more unique class that we would look at it as.
I feel
Do
like
you
you'd
think-
be more of a like you liked watching trucks on dirt.
I don't know. I think you're the one who likes trucks, especially after the Knoxville evening.
Absolutely. I was really excited to see who would win the battle of the Knoxville trucks down in Iowa that night. It's the little things in life that entertain us.
It is.
Anyways, John, who or what are you repping?
Okay, well, it is Stock Car Stampede week, rescheduled week. So guess what? It's history lesson time. I know you guys are so excited. I hope you guys have prepared on your histories. So the shirt I am wearing, as I went back in time a little bit, I'm wearing the 45th annual Stock Car Stampede shirt. And this shirt was from 2016. And here's the reason why I'm wearing this shirt. Because this was the shirt for the last time the Stampede was rescheduled into October. So that's why I'm wearing the 45th annual Stock Car Stampede shirt, since we've got rescheduled from a few weekends back now to this weekend. However, this has the 2015 winners on the back. So we're going to give a history lesson about the 2015 winners because our last episode, we talked about the 2016 winners. So 2015, we broke the 300 car mark. We were at 301 cars total wise. This year was a very interesting year as well for the Stampede. And the reason why is because we had some very interesting winners during the Stock Car Stampede that year. So let's start off with the Bomber division. Who picked up the win in the Bombers?
Wyatt Rathwald.
No,
Corey Rodine.
no. Becca?
Chris.
It was Justin Shemp
Oh, I would have known that one.
that won the Bombers that year. And here's the interesting part of why this year was so interesting. Because the Bomber feature race was basically it was a bottom feeder track for the Bombers, which you never typically see from a Bomber perspective. So it was basically they were running next to the wall down into the turns within 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which was very interesting to see on some of that too. And then as the race went, it migrated more towards the top. So it was a very interesting race to watch from a Bomber perspective because 2014 was very much like that, and then 2015 turned into kind of that same way. But Justin Champ picked up the Bomber feature win back in 2015. They had 45 Bombers. They had 67 Midwest Modifieds. And who picked up the Midwest Modified Championship that year?
Jason Grimes.
No.
This wasn't the first of pressing cars back to back, was it?
No.
Go ahead, John. Becca's not going to say anything.
Okay, Becca,
I
you can
cheated.
announce it.
I cheated. I looked it up. It's Tyler Peterson.
Yes.
What? I was going to actually say.
TPO won that year.
I'm just gonna
Tyler
say
Peterson
Jason
picked up
Grimes.
the Stampede win in 2015 with Randy Coleman right there with him, Ryan Lair right there with him, in a really good battle up front. Street stocks, they had 50 cars in the street stock division.
Todd Carter.
And they had some very, very interesting competition there too because we had Kyle Dykoff in the field, Corey Dykoff was in the field, Ryan Palmer was in the field. So who picked up the win in the Wissota Street Stocks? First ever Stampede Championship.
Are they still racing
Yes.
in the same class?
Yes, as of this year, they were in the same class.
So Johnny Carter.
Yes. It was Johnny's first win in the Wissota Street Stock Division back in 2015. He
You're
had
welcome, Mason. You're welcome.
Yes.
I fed you the answers to get you the.
he had beat Royce Jalowski. Ryan Palmer was right there. So they had some very interesting competition up front and a really good battle in your Wissota Street Stocks. Wissota Super Stocks were on the card that year. Who picked up the Stampede win in the
Ken
Wissota
Gullickson.
Super Stocks? No, he did in 2016.
Wow. Dave Moss.
No.
Brian Bernatus.
Yes.
I don't know who that is. So
Number 43.
Yes. Brian Bernatus picked up the Stampede Championship in his Wissota Superstock during the Stampede. In your mods, now this is interesting because we ran both IMCA mods and Wissota mods. Who picked up the IMCA mod when we had 36 cars?
Tyler Peterson.
No.
Didn't you say Mark Dahl last week or something like that?
Does he
Mark
still
Dahl picked up
race?
the win in 2015 in your mods. In the Wissota mods,
Like
who picked up the win in the Wissota mods? No, Blake didn't win it. It was a Bismarck native.
Brian Swenson?
Yes.
Oh, dang, I'm on a roll.
Yes.
I don't know
Ryan
who these
Swenson
people
won
are,
the
Becca.
mods
Becca, who are
that
these?
year. And
Huh?
that race was a very interesting race because they were slicing and dicing through lap traffic in
Oh,
that race. And Brian was just smooth and steady on the bottom and picked up the win. And then in your late models during the
Keller.
2015 Stampede, they had 32 late models.
Jeremy Keller.
And no, it was not Jeremy. Jeremy was in the top 5, but it was not Jeremy.
I'm gonna get it right one of these times by
This
saying.
was a very interesting race, by the way, too.
Was it a North Dakotan?
Yes.
Cody
Mitch
Shitland?
Johnson.
No, Cody was second.
Oh, dang.
Dustin Strand.
Yes. And this is a very interesting race. And here's the reason why it's interesting. Because Dave McDonald led a ton of this race, got together with a lap car, and was not able to continue. Cody Skitland, who was running right with Dave, got involved in that same wreck, broke. And he was three-wheeling it around the track after this and still finished second. But Dustin got around him on the restart as he pushed up really, really, really far, obviously in 1 and 2, and Dustin got around him and drove away for the win. So yes, but those were your Stampede winners. In your slingshot division, they were really fresh and new back then. They had 7 cars back then for the Stampede as well, so they were just basically out there for their first year. And 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 yes, Dustin Strand ended up picking up the late models. It was Dahl in the IMC mods, Swinson in the Wasota mods. It was Bernaudis in your super stocks, Johnny Carter in your street stocks, Tyler Peterson in your Midwest mods, and Justin Schemp in his silver 96 bomber. So really good Stampede. They had 301 cars that year, and just a really good event overall. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, like weather-wise, that was a beautiful year weather-wise. I was in shorts, if I'm not mistaken, on that Friday night, when at the Stampede, just because the weather was really nice Friday, and then it cooled down a little bit Saturday, to where this year's Stampede upcoming now, which we're going to preview here in a little bit, will definitely be in not shorts by any means. It'll be true Stampede weather, snowmobile suits.
Yeah, and I don't own a snowmobile suit, but I do have a heated vest. That was one of the best Christmas gifts I got this last season, so it'll come in handy this weekend.
Good news is it's supposed to just be chilly and none of that other stuff.
Yeah, because we had to deal with that a lot, it seemed like this last week. So awesome. Well, that's a great trip down memory lane. It's kind of getting harder to guess some of these drivers, especially when it gets like closer to 10 years and further back. It's tough to kind
It's
of remember
okay.
who's all racing.
My next one that I wear, I'll wear one from like back in '93. It'll be fine.
Oh gosh. Well, that's who or what we are repping. And so we'll move into the track pack report, which for us, it was basically just one race that we all were at. We got to 10 Oktoberfest, which was planned for Friday and Saturday. Heats and dashes on Friday, and Saturday was supposed to be the con-season A mains. But fortunately, weather kind of plagued on Friday morning, kind of overnight on Thursday, I think, too, a little bit. I know it wreaked havoc over on my side of the state. And so Friday kind of was a washout. They decided to postpone it, so we made it all into one day with still a really, really great car count, I thought. It was awesome kind of getting there mid-afternoon because the race was supposed to start at 4 o'clock, and they had a nice trunk and treat, which shout out to Dakota Speedway for that. I think that was a really cool thing that they added. Nice opportunity for people to kind of meet the drivers and get all sorts of candy and get all sugared up. So I had plenty of energy, and John had plenty of energy to announce on the mic for 7 hours.
Mason, do you know whose idea that was?
This guy, I bet.
It was an original idea from Jessup Pelkey, and it was a huge hit. So, nice job, Jessup. It was a huge hit among the drivers, the kids, people of all ages. So, nice job.
Yeah, it was fun. Overall,
Good job, Jessup. You get thumbs up.
Yay. Do I get a win of the week then?
No.
Only if someone else nominates it.
Okay. Anyways, it was fun. Hats off to all the drivers who supported it. They were definitely the stars of that, so they did a really good job, and lots of legends, lots of cars, a good mix of cars out there as well too.
Yeah.
It's a little of everything, so that was really cool. It was well attended by the drivers and well attended by a bunch of young fans. And honestly, I didn't hear anything bad about it. I heard a lot of positive stuff. and that started the night off with a pretty good feel good situation or theme for the night.
Yeah, and it was a gorgeous day. Like it was like mid 70s, I want to say, probably close to 80. So it was like nice out. It was like, dang, this feels like summer almost. It was like a nice, ideal day to have that event happen and then kind of kickstart the racing night too. Do you have any other takeaways from Oktoberfest while you have the floor here, Jessup?
Oh, there's a lot to take away. It's just how you want to frame it. So, record car count was awesome. 222 cars. I was kind of surprised that we got that many to come on Saturday, even after the rain out on Friday. But I guess a lot of drivers do like the single day shows type of theme, so that may have helped with that. It may not have. I'm not really sure. Trunk or treat was really cool. Just leading up to it, it was fun seeing a bunch of different drivers and different classes. And I really enjoyed watching Johnny Carter learn the Randy Klein. I think it's Randy Klein.
Yep.
His IMCA stock car. That was definitely interesting to see him learn how to handle that on the track. And the track itself was really good Saturday. I really was impressed after questionable track conditions on leading into that night. So it was really good. The hats off to the track crew for the efforts that they put in all day Saturday morning and all day Saturday to get it in tip-top shape. And they really are the people who don't get enough credit for their efforts. And for those who weren't there, they started at 8 and they were working it in all day from 8. And I thought they did a great job. So hats off to those guys. Weather, like you said, was amazing. It was my first time back on the camera for the full night, with the exception of Becca hopping in for a couple heats just so I could grab some food and actually get off my feet after 7 hours. So that was it was really comfortable and really enjoyable. So that was fun. And yeah, we'll just leave out Friday night and not worry about that and just focus on all of Saturday's festivities and events.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a good start tonight. Definitely good to see the car count. Being on the mic I've been on the mic a few times throughout the summer. I've always been looking forward to this weekend. It's kind of just a nice kind of little close to the weekend or close to the year, I should say, even though we have Stampede coming up. But it's kind of nice because I know there's going to be a good mix of drivers coming from east, west. We even had a few drivers from beyond our state and come over to race with us. And so it's kind of nice to see the mix of drivers and see how they compare to one another. And being that it's basically the only event taking place in the state of North Dakota, you definitely get a good mix of drivers from almost every corner of the state. And so I was really impressed with that. I was impressed with the racing. I thought the feature racing, all the features were really good. So it was fun to call those. And so, yeah, no shortage of action, that's for sure. There's some weird stuff that happened throughout the night. I just think of John Gardner Jr., for instance, spins out in his heat race and then he's backing up in reverse across the finish line. That was pretty funny. And had to maintain as much positions as you could. So have to do all you can. And so just a whole bunch of fun stuff to call. Got to hang out with John. We had some fun banter over the mic, and it was nice to kind of bounce back and forth with one another. And then Becca got to join us and get to experience a little bit of the banter too. So it was a good time. What about you, John?
Yeah, it was a good time overall. I mean, before I went out there on Thursday for very little bit because I was also bowling league on Thursday, so I went out there just quickly to make sure everything kind of was working from a soundboard perspective. Was out there Friday for, a couple hours as well, just visiting with people in the pits, which was kind of fun to see, just hearing about, hey, how everything went for the season and what your plans for the next couple of weeks and kind of go from there. So that was kind of fun to see from just talking to different drivers and different people down in the pit area. And then on Saturday I ventured around for a little bit before we started the night out, visited with several people, just talked about various things, and then got up into the tower and got everything ready to go and set for the night. And I agree with Mason. I enjoy Oktoberfest because it's kind of the conclusion to the race season for us a little bit. Typically, and also we would go through and make sure that it was something that was a lot of fun for closing out the season, but also you see a lot of drivers that you don't see throughout the normal regular season, from just like a perspective of here's where everything is at and where everything comes across from. So that was kind of fun to see too, on how they drove from, you had east, west, north, south drivers come up there, which was kind of neat to see. So that was fun. Mason said it best on there too, that we had a lot of banter on the mic. There was several times I think Mason was laughing over on the um far west side of the tower with jokes or other things that we were talking about from our perspective, and other things that happened throughout the night. So yes, so we had a great time on there too, and it's always fun to get back on the mic and just announce what you see when you come across from the racetrack perspective and kind of go from there. So, but no, it was a fun night overall. It was a good setup for the conclusion of the season for Dakota Speedway from a racing perspective, and then rolling into the Stampede this weekend. And I agree with Mason. Feature racing was really good on Saturday night. There was tons of battles throughout those feature events and a lot of hard fought racing action, and a lot of action in general in a lot of those features. So it was a good time overall. Becca, what are your thoughts?
Oktoberfest is quickly becoming one of my favorite events at Dakota Speedway, no doubt, but also just year-end racing specials. I know not everyone agrees having 8 different car classes is a great thing, but I do enjoy the diversity of drivers it brings to our track. Typically, these are drivers that I see on other racing broadcasts, so to see them in person, I really enjoy it. I love getting to know and meet those people in the pits, whether it's before the races or after the races. It feels just like a big homecoming, one last hurrah for a lot of these drivers, because not all those car classes get invited to other racing specials, such as like the Stock Car Stampede. So Oktoberfest, it's definitely becoming one of my favorite racing events, especially at Dakota Speedway. Unfortunately, I had signed up for a golf scramble about 2 months before Oktoberfest, and I was thinking that it'd be beautiful weather, and who would have guessed that we would have had to postpone Friday's races and start extra early on Saturday. So I missed a lot of the heat races and most of the B mains. What, John?
Mason and Jessup, you get your flags out here too for the caution
What?
flag.
I asked your guys' permission if it was okay with you guys if I signed up for this golf scramble. You all said it was fine.
So let's wave the caution flag.
Yes, I did. I will. Do I have to pull up the receipts? Do I need to pull up the receipts?
Who schedules something, first of all, during race season? And second of all,
the golf scramble was supposed to end before the races started.
Well, that's where I'm going next. So the golf scramble ended, and Mason, what time did she basically arrive at the track on Saturday night?
7:30.
Yeah, and we were still supposed to race at like 6.
No, there's a caution there.
It was like 8:30 at least.
It was about 8:30 when Becca arrived to the racetrack.
And
hang on.
Right there goes
on.
the black flag for Becca as he receives 2 cautions, a caution.
It was right before 8 o'clock when Becca got to the track, because we started features a little bit after 8.
I was helping Troy Speeton in the pit shack because him and Nathan came late. So I got them, I took their money, had them sign their insurance waivers, got them wristbanded, and
look at you doing work before.
Yes, and this happened before 8 o'clock. This happened before 8 o'clock. So I was definitely there.
This is another caution flag then on Becca. And here's the reason why. So she helped Troy and Nathan Speeton, right? To get them registered. Well, she never let the tower know before they came on the track to add them to the lineup, so they never were in the lineup until after they hit the track.
I kind of had a lot of things to say and tell people when I got to the tower. That was one thing I forgot to tell them. But yes, whatever.
She did. She had lots of things to say. She didn't get on the mic until after like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night is when the first time she hit the mic.
while. I haven't been there all day. Why would I hop on the mic? It made no sense. But anyways,
Becca has now officially put us under black-yellow conditions for the rest of the podcast. Way to go, Becca.
anyways, I signed up for a
How
golf scramble.
one
I
person
asked
can
for
get 3
John,
cautions
Mason, and Jessup's
is-
blessing. They all said, yeah, sure, go ahead, have fun.
I did not
And-
get in on this.
Oh, yes. Hang
I
on.
don't
I
remember
want
this at
to. I
all.
want to see the proof to this too, because I don't
We-
remember this either.
We chat a lot. This could take a while, but I
It-
did ask you
exactly.
guys.
John, does this mean Mason's up for a caution here if he's wrong?
I don't remember this at all.
No,
He might
Mason's,
be.
Mason's
Yeah.
not up for a caution. He just
You don't
doesn't
get
remember
to say
it.
you brought the black-yellow conditions out, Becca.
I don't
by
care.
yourself,
Anyways,
single-handed.
I got asked to be in this
Wow.
golf scramble because I typically can drive 150 yards off the women's tees, which gives my
190?
team.
I was like, wow, you're getting good.
Actually, my longest drive on Saturday was 185. So I guess I wasn't.
You are getting
completely
pretty
off.
good.
Yeah.
It
So
is.
so all of my guy friends are asking me to do these golf scrambles because we have a serious chance of doing well.
Nobody asked me to do a golf scramble.
We
with
did
my
use a
broken
lot of my
hand.
drives, which was pretty awesome. I felt pretty pumped about that. But anyways, I will find the receipts and I will show you guys that I asked for your guys' blessings. You all said, yeah, sure, have fun.
And what are these receipts you're talking about?
Our text threads.
Yeah, you
Yeah, it
mean
might take
text?
you a
Keep
while.
keep up with the times, John. Get to know today's lingo. Jesus. Anyways, had a great time golfing. Just got to the track a little late. Got there just in time though to help Troy and Nathan Speeton. They were in the fields all day on Saturday. Decided to come and support Oktoberfest, so I helped them out. I got there just at the right time. They got there just at the right time, so they got to tag the tail end of the feature, and they did pretty darn well. In fact, Nathan was the hard charger in the IMCA Sport Compact feature. She put the flag down, Jessup. We all know.
Sport mods,
feature.
not sport compact.
Sport mods. I was gonna say you said
Alright.
sport compact.
There
I'm
it
pretty sure
is,
that was sport
Mason.
mods.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Becca.
that one did deserve a caution flag.
So this is Becca's second black flag of the night.
I will
Go
say
to the pits.
I will say this was kind of a theme of the first few features. There was a lot of cautions.
It was
Actually,
very much a theme.
correction, Cottingham insurance cautions, which, by the way, Becca, did you know that Cottingham
Martians.
insurance can help you with all sorts of insurance needs, including vehicles, homeowners, and renters insurance? They have 2 locations, if you didn't know this, one in Bismarck and one in Underwood.
Somebody
is
said
the
in the
salty little-
bleachers, they're like, they're saying it wrong. They're from Washburn, not Underwood. And I was like, I don't know. Yeah, are they?
So the reason why John over enunciates that whole, what do you want to call it, promo plug, is because someone informed John that Cottingham Insurance closed their Washburn location, and they only have 2 locations. And we've been announcing that they have had 3 locations for numerous years at Dakota Speedway, and no one has told us different except for this year. I think it was like Dratch or Survive Night or something like that. And this was the first that we've heard of this. And John, being the salty little person he is, decided to just over enunciate and just
I'm
hammer
definitely not
home
salty.
that there are only 2 locations now, and it's stuck every week, and I have to give him the look to be like, tone it down. She's the person that had to tell us this is not even here.
Let me just say, John's not salty, but there are some glaring issues.
Oh, it says on here, our locations are Bismarck and Underwood only. I found the message.
Okay,
So-
but have we checked their website?
Glaring
Did
issues.
you know that? Did you know?
Let's check
And
their
I even said
website.
this. I even said
I
this
love
to
that we
Mason.
have 2 different conversations going on
Did-
right now. There's
you
one
know,
between
though-
Becca and John and Mason and myself.
Contact us, Cottingham Insurance, Underwood, and Bismarck, and that is it.
What? Why are we throwing the red out here?
Well, because we need to reset as we will actually get into the results for Oktoberfest, and I've tasked Becca with this, and we'll kind of interject some things we saw during some of the feature events. But Becca, go ahead and start with the results.
All right.
Did you know
so
Alex Thompson won? Ace the wrestler won.
Yes, John, he did. After the original car that crossed the finish line first, who was Zach Eubanks, was disqualified in the tech line, giving second runner-up Alex Thompson the win. Big way to end his racing season. He definitely, after he ended on a really high note down at Super Nationals just a few weeks ago, where he finished 19th out of 90 plus cars. So big, he's definitely ending on a huge high note for him in that IMCA Sport Compact division. Also, fun fact, IMCA also donated free 2024 sanctioning licenses. So Alex was one of the first to pick that up on Saturday night. Moving on to our Dakota Speedway hobby stocks. My, oh my, cautions, breed cautions, and that was definitely the case in our Dakota Speedway hobby stock feature, as it was just a wreck fest. And unfortunately, the race did have to end early due to time limit, just because when you have 222 race cars and you have to finish before your 11 o'clock curfew, as much as you would like to let those features finish naturally, we just couldn't do that just because we don't want to upset our neighbors, our city, our politicians, all that good stuff. So playing nice, we had to abide by the time curfew for those guys, and it was Dylan Sandberg who crossed the finish line first, a few laps short of their 15 lap feature race. But congratulations to Dylan Sandberg. And coming up this weekend is the Stock Car Stampede, where he is the back-to-back champion over there. So he's off to a good start going into this weekend. Moving on to our IMCA hobby stocks, another caution fest in this particular feature as well, but it was Brandon Beater who went back to back at Oktoberfest. He picked up the feature win last year. He picked up the feature win this year. Fun fact to know for our listeners and viewers, he did it in a completely different race car. So no matter what he's hopping behind the wheel of, he is doing awfully well in that hobby stock. So John, do you want to give the history lesson on that car? Because that car has changed hands quite a bit.
That's actually where I was going next with that one too. So that car used to be a Jace Iverson car. Back when Jace used to run hobby stocks, he's been in a stock car now for several years. So that car's actually been an older chassis that they've actually been kind of putting back together. And Brandon's been running it up in Estevan a little bit, has won up in Estevan with it. And then obviously picked up the win at Oktoberfest to go back to back. I talked to Brandon. He's actually planning on going down to Kansas to, I believe it's what, the Rolling Plains Speedway, I think. Rolling Hills, Rolling Plains, one of the two.
Yep.
He's going down there for the I think it's the Fall Nationals down there is what they call it. In Hayes, Kansas. So he's going to be down there for their event. I think him and Max are going to go down with their hobby stocks, and Brock is planning to head over to Jamestown for the Stampede this weekend with both his stock car and his sport mod. So so the Beater family is going to be racing some more here upcoming. They brought a lot of cars to Oktoberfest too. They had a good eight cars that they brought together between everybody, which is kind of cool to see.
Kind of a little fun fact on that hobby stock. Dion Iverson is actually messaging me throughout the night, and he's saying that they basically got it out of their tree row, and it's a 2009 trackside hobby stock. So it's pretty old, but it's still old. Quick.
It's definitely older.
Quick. And a fun fact about the Beaters, they were at Test and Tune on Thursday night as well. And Max was driving and testing and practicing his hobby stock. He's been racing that this year and last year as well. But he also hopped behind the wheel of an IMCA Sport Mod. And during one of the practice sessions, he actually caught and passed his uncle, Brock Beater. And so that when that happened, and then pulled away. Obviously this is one of his first few times behind the wheel of that sport mod, so they were pretty impressed, and so they made the decision Thursday night already that he would not be racing the hobby stock and he would be racing a sport mod for the first time this weekend at Oktoberfest. So moving on to those IMCA sport mods, going back to Uncle Brock Beater, he had a fantastic battle up front between him and Rich Pavlicek. Pavlicek's had a heck of a season out east, came out west to race with us, as Dakota Speedway is one of his favorite racetracks. And it was Brock who held off Rich Pavlicek for the win in the IMCA Sport Mods.
They had a little bit of contact midway through.
They did. Yep, they did, because Pavlicek's rear quarter panel was a little wrinkled. And underneath the caution, you could tell Brock was not very happy with what happened there.
No, they had a little conversation.
Yeah, and he drove back around him on the restart and basically never was touched after that. So, but Brock went down to Super Nationals, as well, was down there with a sport mod this past year, ran it down there, and looked really good in Mandan, on Saturday night in that sport mod.
Yep, and then we had a small intermission before we finished off our 4 final car classes of the evening, starting off with the IMCA stock cars. After intermission, great battle up front between Sean Strand, who I guess you could consider a rookie, and I guess another guy you could consider a rookie in this racing division, Johnny Carter. He hopped behind Randy Klein's IMCA stock car, and that is the same car that Randy drove on the Dakota Classic Modified Tour last year, where he did really well, and he's also done fairly well this year, the few times he's hopped behind it as well. But Sean Strand, Johnny Carter, 2 guys pretty novice to the class. Those 2 were duking it out for the win, but it was Sean Strand who held off Johnny Carter for the win, his very first IMCA stock car win in that racing division. So that was a pretty exciting way for him to end the season. Okay,
As they didn't even
he
West
wanted
Fargo?
he
He
wanted
wanted
Motor
more-
Magic.
Yes.
Or more
Yep.
magic.
That's why you got the yellow.
It was a really good
yes.
race, though. I mean, like it got
was a
off.
really
He
good
went
race.
also earlier in the year.
He won a heat race in Fargo, but he won his very
Yeah.
first stock car race at Motor Magic during
Feature
Labor Day
race.
week. Yes, feature race during Motor Magic.
Yeah.
And then this would be
The
his
race?
second then.
Race.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was a really
what
good
did we
race.
call
I mean, he got off
Cottingham
to
Insurance earlier this year during Oktoberfest, John? I think it was Cottingham Insurance or
No,
carrying
it was
him.
it was carrying hand
yes.
insurance.
Yes, Carringham
Because I
Insurance.
was trying
yes.
to talk about cars, and all of a sudden the caution came out, and I was talking about the caution then. So, but did you guys know Cottingham Insurance? They can help you with insurance needs, whether it's vehicle, homeowners, renters, insurance. Check them out. They have 2, yes, count that, 2 locations in Bismarck, and then 1 in Underwood.
Thank you, John. Apologies. Sean
The
Strand
stock car
has
race
won
did
2
get
races.
off to a little bit of a rough start because Kyle Schulp went for a wild ride. Like I saw
yeah,
the tail end of it,
me
and then he
I
disappeared behind the
saw it.
blackboard.
I didn't see
Yeah,
him.
I saw it because him and Tyler McDougal got together. And Tyler was underneath him, and by that time, Kyle was like kind of still 3-wheeling it. He was a lot of the stock car guys were 3-wheeling it on Saturday night because they had just redone the track. The track still had a lot of moisture in it. And they went through and he, as soon as he got up like this, it dug into that right rear, and it just rolled it a couple times. And he kind of pirouetted when he flipped a little bit over there in turn 2. And he was fine. He got out of the car. That was good news. Car actually didn't look terrible either. I know the car wasn't obviously in great shape, but it wasn't in terrible shape either. But back to that stock car race, Mason. I mean, we had some really good drivers come through the field too, because Adam Goth started pretty deep and ended up in the top 5. He came through the field. Jarrett Carter, who started back in the field too, driving Todd Heinrich's stock car. He got up there. Mad Mike Hagan was right in the mix up there as well. So it was very interesting to see because you had the battle for Sean kind of pulled away quite a bit right away at the beginning, and then Luke Krogh and Johnny were going at it for second, and they were kind of going back and forth at different lines through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then Johnny finally threw like a slider on Luke, had about 5 laps to try to track down Sean, which those drivers were catching him. They were about a second and a half back, and Johnny got within a couple car lengths of him, got held up a little with a lap car, and that allowed Sean just to kind of cruise to victory. But besides that, that was a really good battle. And then behind them there was some drivers that were definitely quick throughout that feature event.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely a great showing by the IMCA stock cars at Oktoberfest.
Yes, and then moving on to our INEX Legends, it was Preston Martin who practically just ran away with this race. He was half a straightaway ahead of his brother Casey Martin, who had a very good showing on Saturday night. Gage Matler finished 3rd, Austin Weiss finished 4th, and Noah Matler rounded out your top 5. But it's Preston Martin who pretty much just it was in another zip code in the INEX Legends, picking up $1,500 to win as Lady J's Catering out of Bismarck added some extra purse money to that particular racing division. Then in the Wissota Street Stocks, this was an action-packed race, and you saw a lot of comers and goers throughout this feature event. But it's a lot of different players up front battling for the win. You had Jason Meitinger leading very early off the bat. You had Matt Dosh also up there battling, and Jeff Hillman was up there, as well as Kyle Anderson, who started pretty deep in the pack. He moved up 10 spots when everything was said and done, but the most exciting part of that feature event was the battle up front between Matt Dosh. He and Kyle Anderson made contact coming out of turn 2, which sent Matt Dosh off the backstretch. And as he tried to come back on, Kyle Anderson kind of tagged him.
Yeah.
And then when Kyle tagged him, that's what sent him around.
Yeah, because like Dosh slid up basically on his own when he was in the lead off the restart off the backstretch, and when he came on, I think Kyle was trying to avoid him, but unfortunately kind of tapped him and then kind of sent Dosh low, and then when he corrected it, rolled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
Matt was completely sideways when he came back on, and he was like this. Kyle was like this. They hit. And then Matt he was actually he was
Correct.
trying to catch it with trying to correct it with the throttle. So he was actually kind of down on the throttle as well during that period of time. In the back straightaway, I was talking to some people and they said, yeah, he had floored it to try to catch it. And when he did that, it flipped to the other side, and that's why he rolled, and that's why it actually dug in so quick when he rolled and rolled so violently.
yeah, definitely really violent rollover, and changed the complexion of the race. It put Jeff Hellman up front, and Jeff Hellman held off Kyle Anderson for the win at Oktoberfest.
Yeah, and I would say like even before a couple of those cautions, like you could throw a blanket on the top 8. Like they were all grouped together, and it was a fun race to watch.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was going to be really interesting to see from our perspective from the announcer start, because Mason and I were talking about it a little bit, even during cautions and / during the green flags, that you had those top 8 that were just they were kind of migrating themselves closer to each other as that race went on, until you had the caution in the back straightaway with about 8 laps into the race. And that kind of changed it, because then you had Dosh take control after that. And when he took control after that one, the track became more high side for the street stocks, especially through turns 1 and 2. You could definitely run a little bit lower in 3 and 4. But there was a fine lineup there to where if you got off that back straightaway, you started slipping and sliding, and that's what happened to Matt. Matt just barely slid off there, and when that happened, it basically for him it was game over. When it came across, when he came back on the track, from trying to catch it, because the back straightaway, there was a lot of wrecks actually on the back straightaway this past weekend. Just from from where the track was and everything else, that seemed like the problem spots were out of turn 2 and going into turns 3. Those were definitely the problem spots from the weekend.
yeah. And then moving on to our final racing division of the night, which were the IMC modifieds. And another driver that just hit the setup, just nailed it, and pulled away from the get-go, which was your pole sitter, Travis Hagen. And he actually won at Dakota Speedway earlier this year on the championship night of the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. Travis Hagen's had a phenomenal season, picking up track championships at the Willis and Mason Speedway, Estevan Motor Speedway, and Nodak Speedway, picking up numerous wins at each of those racetracks. So I knew he was going to be a threat to win going into this weekend, and that was definitely the case, as he held off Cody Schopp, who finished second, Mark Dahl finished third, Quentin Kinsley finished fourth, and Jeremy Keller, who moved up 12 spots and had to actually win his B main to make the feature. He finished, he rounded out your top 5. And overall, there were lots of comers and goers, but drivers who were your hard chargers in all of your feature races, they came from pretty deep in the pack. And all of our hard chargers are listed on our website at dakotaspeedway.com. But yeah, a very impressive list of hard chargers from over the weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah. Travis has been on kill mode, it seems like, since the beginning of the year. And granted, like before this year, Dakota Speed was probably not his strongest track, but definitely showed his muscle over at the Mod Tour and this weekend at Oktoberfest. Yeah, because he was not really touched at all going into the feature race or during the feature race on Saturday. So definitely a nice way to end his 2023 season as well.
I'm going to be curious. John, has Travis signed up for the Stock Car Stampede?
Well, I know he's inquired about it, but I'm not sure if he was going to come over or not. I know he was planning on coming over the weekend that was canceled to be postponed. So I guess we'll just kind of wait to see if he comes to the rescheduled date or not.
I think he could be a one to watch at the Stock Car Stampede if he chooses to race. But
agreed.
Yeah,
Yep.
Definitely one heck of a season for Travis Hagen, ending strong at Oktoberfest, picking up the feature in the IMCA Modifieds. And all of the IMCA Modified guys did get those sanctioning licenses for next year, as well as Wasota. So Wasota Street Stocks, that'd be Jeff Hellman. He'll be getting a free 2024 sanctioning license as well.
Awesome. Nice to have some contingency awards along with winning the races. And so that was a nice overall weekend at Oktoberfest in Mandan. So that was our track packer report for this week, as I didn't go into any other races. There wasn't a whole lot, but glad we got something in this past weekend. And so we'll look to what's upcoming next with Mr. Dakota Dirt talking to us about what racing is happening.
Did you know that we also promoted Dakota Dirt at Dakota Speedway on Saturday night?
We
And
did.
race fans, drivers,
awesome.
sponsors, supporters, everybody involved with racing. It is your one-stop shop for everything North Dakota racing news, results, recaps, weather forecasts, and much more. You can check out so many things at Dakota Dirt. They are social on social media platforms, so check them out on Facebook, as well as their website at dakotadirt.org. Again, your one-stop shop for everything North Dakota racing news. And Jessup, we have one event left.
I just don't know what would it be, John. Is it the
I don't know either.
Jamestown Stock Car Stampede, the 52nd annual one? Could it be?
That would be correct.
On Friday and Saturday at the Jamestown Speedway in Jamestown?
In North Dakota.
Yep. Which happens to host the being of Jamestown within the state? No, but that is the final race that will be taking place in North Dakota and in the area that we genuinely cover for the site. It's going to be a good race, I think. Everything's pointing to a good turnout, good weather. If you're not afraid to brave the cold, you're going to have a good time. Yeah, it's
More
just
Friday than Saturday for cold weather. Saturday should be better, but Friday's gonna be a little nippy.
Yep. So we just got to hope that everybody gets through their heats all right quickly on Friday night, and then we can have fun in the pits. And then it's, end of the season go time. It's championship day on Saturday.
And John, do you kind of want to talk about the format of the Jamestown Stampede?
Yeah, so I'll talk about it. It's Stampede is very similar to Oktoberfest format. Stampede kind of went back to their old format that they used to use back in, I want to say, maybe the early 2000 area. And what I mean by that is that they do heat races on Friday night, and then they call it a qualifying feature. And the reason why they call it a qualifying feature is because the top 16 from passing points from the heats go into that feature event, and then the top 8, they don't start straight up the top 8. The top 8 actually will redraw for their spots on Saturday, but they'll be in the first, 4 rows for Saturday night's A main event. So the rest of them, 9 through 16 finishers, they will start 9 through 16 within the features. So that's how the heat races work. So they will actually go through on Friday night, and their classes that they're running are hobby stocks, NX Legends, IMCA Sport Mods, IMCA Stock Cars, Wasota Midwest Modifieds, Wasota Street Stocks, IMCA Modifieds, Wasota Late Models, and Slingshots. So those will be the 9 classes that they have as part of the Stampede. Same 9 classes they've had last year as well. And they are going to be rotating heat races. And what I mean by that is that they'll run 2 heats for a class, and then they'll go to the next class. And then they'll just rotate throughout them until basically they get done with all the heats throughout the night. So that's kind of a unique aspect of the Stampede that the Stampede's been using for years as part of their kind of format. Now, once we're done with Friday, they're going to have a band in the pits afterwards. Everybody can go into the pits, join in, dance, party, whatever they want to do. I mean, Becca will need to warm up a little bit after Friday anyhow, so she'll go in there and she'll have a great time
Are you
on
gonna
that
dance
piece
with
of
me
it.
this year?
So, no, I probably will not be dancing with you this year.
I know.
So I've got too many things to do. And then on Saturday morning starts with the breakfast. They will have the breakfast on the grounds. That typically runs from about 7 a.m. until about 11. So people come out and check that out as well, especially all the drivers, campers that are on the grounds. Be sure to come and join the breakfast. It's always really good. One of the local charities within town puts it on, so that'll be good to see on that one too. Then they have the vendor show. So they will have the vendor show within the fair building right across from the beer gardens on the grounds, and that'll be from 9 until 3. And then they'll be doing frisbee draw again for everybody. What I mean by that is that they'll be drawing for their spots for the top 8 from each division. And then every driver that comes in on Friday or Saturday, because drivers can show up either day. So if you can't make it Friday, you can start at the tail end of the B main or feature on Saturday. You can just basically come on Saturday and check in and pay the driver's fee, and you're good to go. So that can happen as well. But from there, those drivers that did frisbees, they will be tossed into the grandstand. And then if you have a winning frisbee from one of those drivers that wins a feature event on Saturday night, you will actually get a $100 bill. So that typically is what happened from the Stampede tradition as well. Another thing though too, so they will be doing concies and features on Saturday night for all the classes. So that'll be Saturday night for each one of the divisions for the Stock Car Stampede. And then we'll crown Stampede champions, and that'll be the conclusion for the 52nd year. So unfortunately, like a couple weekends ago, we weren't able to get it in. Weather was really bad from a rain perspective. I think Jamestown got over 4 inches of rain at the track that weekend. So alone they were quite moist. Mason did his job. And then the 2 weeks after that now with this one, it looks like it's going to be chilly, but we've been in a lot of chilly stampedes before, cold stampedes. But the weather wise looks like it's supposed to be pretty much kind of that partly cloudy to clear skies throughout the stampede weather. So that'll be fun to see too. And yeah, it'll just be a good time. Campers can go in on Wednesday, so campers will be let in Wednesday. Race car haulers will be let in at 12:30. Big gates will open at 12:30 on Friday for them to pull in. It's kind of like a parade when they pull in, so that's kind of cool to see. And then draw cutoff will be at 6 o'clock. They're going to open draw right around 2:30, somewhere in that range on Friday for drivers to start drawing. And then draw will determine the heat lineups. They'll do their heats, do their dashes on Friday. And then on Saturday, they'll do their concies and their feature events to crown the Stampede champion. So it is one show over 2 days, just like Oktoberfest comes about as well. And yeah, it'll be a good time.
I do enjoy like how the Stampede is different when they do their heats, like having 2 heats of one class and kind of switch to the next. I know some drivers and fans might think that's a little bit goofy, but I kind of like it because no other race that I've been to really does that format. And it's kind of nice to kind of see a different, like, you don't get like too, like, I guess, lulled into whatever. It's kind of just a nice variety you see throughout the night.
Yeah, it's unique. It's different. And I think that's why a little bit it makes kind of the Stampede a little bit unique. The other thing too that I forgot to mention so it's going to be chilly, obviously from a weather perspective, especially Friday more than maybe than even Saturday. So race fans, obviously we want you there. If you can be there, get your butt in the grandstands and enjoy the last race of the year. However, if you can't make it, you can watch it on DakotaSpeedway.tv. So DakotaSpeedway.tv is broadcasting this year. So again, if you can't make it, you can watch it on DakotaSpeedway.tv. And we're hoping for a great viewership on that as well, as that'll just be a huge event for that crew to cover off on this year.
1 billion viewers.
That would be pretty
Wouldn't
cool.
that be cool? That would be
would
really
be
cool
very
to get
happy
a ton of viewers.
I'm hoping over 220 for weekend passes. I would like weekend passes over 220.
That would match the unofficial high car count, but it was turned into 222 with the Speetons joining on
It did.
Saturday at October.
Yep.
So it's a good goal.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it's hopefully something we can hit, and at Jamestown Speedway will be happy. I know Tim and Allison, we're pretty transparent about all of our numbers, and we try to be fair for every aspect for them and for us, and we are thankful that Dakota Speedway allows us to go out there and assist in these situations and be part of such fun events, along with the Don Kumke Memorial Race as well.
Yep, absolutely. So that's the big race taking place in North Dakota. There's basically only one other race taking place in the region, which is the Ogilvie Fall Classic. And so that'll be another big two-day one show event. And that's been kind of been going on the last several years. And typically that's one I go to, but I will be at the Stampede this weekend because I love going to Jamestown. I look forward to that every single year. And it's It's kind of the last, basically going to be all of our last hurrahs outside of, I think the Pelkeys might be going to a NASCAR race potentially.
You don't know
Potentially,
what
yes.
I'm on, Mason. I might go to another race. I'm gonna do things. You don't know me.
Oh, we'll see.
I
This is
have
true.
been asked to go to Winter Nationals. That's in January, but I mean,
But that's
Phoenix is
in
only a plane.
2024.
That's
Yeah,
the
I
next year,
understand that.
though.
Yeah, I know. I don't
Yes.
care. It's my
Yeah,
birthday
we're going by
weekend.
fiscal year.
Well, whatever. But it's my birthday weekend, so I might just hop on a plane and go.
Nice.
Have
That'd be
fun.
fun. So who do you guys think? So should we do predictions like we did for Oktoberfest for winners?
Yes. How did
Yeah.
we do overall?
I was gonna say, how did we do overall?
I got one right.
I know I did not get street stocks right.
I did
I
not get
got-
hobby stocks
yeah,
right because
Jessup
that guy
did
didn't
not.
show up.
Yeah.
I predicted Brendan Beater winning in the IMC Hobby Stocks. I did not know he was racing a different car because John called a caution.
Who
on me
called
last
Preston
week, but-
Martin?
Nobody did. I picked Noah Madler.
Oh, I would have said
No, I got top 5.
He did. He had a great run.
yeah.
So I did modifieds and IMC Hobby Stocks. I predicted Jeremy Keller to win in the IMC modifieds. He finished 5th. I predicted Brendan Beater in the IMC Hobby Stocks. Mason, who'd you pick?
I was Derek Appert in the hobby stocks. He wasn't there. And I want to say
Oh, I said Chris Van Mill. Who also wasn't there? Neither of my picks were there.
Rob Van Mill.
Rob Van. Well,
said Rob.
he wasn't
Yep,
there
you said
either.
Rob.
yeah.
Rob wasn't there. Chris wasn't there. None
I
of the
feel like
Van
calling a
Mills were there.
caution on Jessup. That was a completely different driver.
That is true. I would actually agree with Beck on that one too. I think you get a caution on that one, Jessup.
I guess majority rules.
So yeah. Now the Van Mills were planning on being in Jamestown this weekend though.
Okay.
So they're planning to be at the Stampede. I picked
Wait,
Sport
hold on.
Compacts.
Why does Becca get a say in this? Because she's already had 3 black flags, and then she rambles through half the night. So
Well, when you
we
get
could
sent into the
definitely
pits,
give
you
her
become
another a dozen caution flags throughout the night.
Well, when you get sent into the pits, then you become an infield track official because then you can see everything, right?
That's not in our rule book or our policies or procedures. So until that is put in there,
Well,
this
just
is-
wait about 10 minutes and it'll be in.
but you know what? You know what's funny about
so,
that?
So I picked Sport Compacts and Legends, and I picked Chris Yost, who did not actually have his car down there. He was running Dustin Thompson's car and had some problems in that car. Still finished in the feature event, but was not a threat for the win. And this is true. And then I had Noah Madler in the Legends, and Noah finished, I believe he was 5th. I think he was 5th across the line, but he did not he was not up there directly in the battle for the win with Preston. So I was not right with mine. Yeah. So I think the only one we got then was Brian and Beater, right?
Yeah,
Who
I
did the
think
sport
so.
mods? Who we picking sport mods?
Pavlicek?
I think we picked Pavlicek.
Yeah.
I think we picked Pavlicek, and he wasn't.
At second.
Yeah.
So a good run. I'm actually adding to the agenda our predictions for the Stampede, so that way we can remember.
Okay, good job, Mason.
So we
So-
can kind of rotate.
So
around
let's
and
just
pick
go
a class
around.
or
Who
two.
wants to take the first class?
I will go with the IMCA stock car. Yeah, the stock cars. I'll say Rob Van Mill again.
Okay.
I'm gonna double down.
All right.
Becca.
And I will take NX Legends and take Preston Martin.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take Hobby Stocks. And I'm gonna go with Dylan Sandberg to go make the 3-peat.
Ooh, has
Stock
that
Car
been done
Stampede.
before?
It has.
Okay.
Yep. Luke
And
Nelson did it.
then in the IMCA Sport Mods, I am gonna go with Rich Pavlicek.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick slingshots here. I'm going to say Landon Goodrow, because they usually make the trip down there from Williston. And then, which class? Go with Midwest Modifieds. And I will go with Brennan Waite.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
That is a really good pick.
I would have said Nightmare.
It's also a good pick,
Yeah,
too.
because he's also back to back
Yeah.
Yep.
going for the 3-peat. So okay, so you guys left me 3 classes then.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the class is.
Late
Oh,
So
late
models,
let's
models.
see.
Duh.
street stocks,
So let
IMCA
yep,
modified.
streets,
Hunt's got all the
mods,
big
and late
boys.
models. I do. I've got all the big boys. So
Some
okay, so
glaring
let's.
decisions to make.
I know, right? There's some choices to make here too. So let's go late models. Late models. I am going to pick Mike Gresseth.
Mhm.
He was over at the Red Cedar. So Red Clay Classic. Sorry. Yes, that's right. Yes, I said that wrong. That is a caution on me. He was over at the Red Clay Classic
Yep.
At
at ABC Raceway,
which is
and
located where?
he finished top 10 over there in that race. I mean, that was it. That special was great. 205 cars this past weekend.
Four
And they
classes.
had a great in 4 classes, and they had a great field of cars overall. A lot of depth in their field too. So that was really, really cool to see from, a volume of cars and the variety of drivers. So I'm gonna pick Gresseth in the late models. Mods. Mods, I am going with Colin Hibden.
It's a good pick.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Colin. I think Colin might be pretty tough.
And he's kind of had some
So
good momentum towards the end of the year.
he ran good at Super Nationals. He ran
Mhm.
really good down at Super Nationals. So, and then he was going to take a break until the Stampede, and he hasn't hit the tracks in Super Nationals. So, we'll see. He does plan on, I believe, on being there this weekend too. So that'll be a good one, as well. So, okay, street stocks. Street stocks is a very interesting one because when you look at the street stock class, you probably aren't going to have a Johnny Carter in the street stocks because his car's gone, sold his car. You're not going to have a Hunter Domagala. He sold his car. His car is probably gone as well unless they borrow cars and race those cars. So it kind of opens up the door just a little bit for street stocks on who's going to be kind of your favorite, because Zach Frederick obviously was runner up last year. That car now was Chris Walk Jr.'s car, so Chris Walk Jr. will likely be racing that one this weekend. So thinking out loud here really quick, you've got some tough runners within the street stocks as a whole, but I'm I think I'm going to go with I think I'm going to go with Jeff Hellman to double up. I feel like he's looked really good recently. It's a hard choice because I'm like, do I pick Jeff or do I pick Kyle? So because I'm like Kyle Anderson obviously has looked really good too, but he hasn't looked really great in Jamestown this year. Jeff has just looked better in Jamestown as a whole this year. I feel like from Kyle. So I'm gonna pick Jeff. I think Jeff might double up.
Alrighty, so we got our predictions set for this weekend at the Jamestown. So it'll be interesting to see if any of our picks are right, as we went 1 for 8 this last weekend. Yikes.
Yeah. Well, and make sure that all our picks are there too. Hopefully, most of them are obviously in attendance.
Yeah, that would help too. So that is what's upcoming this next weekend. And as we go into our white flag segment, we want to give a shout out to Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro, who was going to be at Oktoberfest, but harvesting kind of took over. So hopefully he might show up to the Jamestown Stampede this weekend. So if you see him in the pits, be sure to stop by. He's got all sorts of snacks, hopefully some hot goodies to keep us all warm, some of the nicest people to talk to. Go check out the 12S Sandro Snack Shack. And thank you so much, Isaac, for supporting us on the podcast. Wins of the week. Does anyone have wins of the week that they'd like to share?
Who's going first? That's the real question.
I can pick first. I haven't been first for a
John,
while.
you go first. You haven't picked first for wins.
Okay, so I'm only going to do 2. So I'm going to go with 2 wins as a whole here. So first one of the week, I'm going to give it over to Travis Hagen, the dark horse. Like we had mentioned, he kind of struggles at Dakota Speedway, although he's definitely picking that up from a different perspective to where he's now won back-to-back features that he's been in at Dakota Speedway with, basically the championship night of the Dakota Classic Modified Tour, and now with Oktoberfest. Plus, he won his heat as well over at the racetrack, and that was pretty cool to see from that perspective. And yeah, so I'm gonna pick Travis Hagen for my first one. I think congratulations to him, as he's had a heck of a season, top 10 in national points as well for your IMCA modifies, as that points races is now concluded as well for the 2023 season. In the next pick of the week, class wise, I am actually going to go over to the ABC Raceway, and I am going to pick the winner of the Wissota Superstock 8 main event. And that was Shane Sabraski. And the reason why I'm picking Shane is because with that win, he has pretty much locked up the national championship title in the Superstocks. So congratulations to Shane as picking up another huge win for the Superstocks, and I believe that might be his first win over at the ABC Raceway as part of the Red Clay Classic.
Mm.
So that might be his first one in the Superstock division over there. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it might be. So yeah, so congratulations to Shane on a big win over there in the Ashland area.
Awesome. Good couple set of wins there. I'll give the nod to Becca. You can go next on wins.
All right. So my first set of wins go to the Beater brothers, both Brandon and Brock.
That's 2. Mark it down. 2.
This is true. I would mark this as 2. I would agree with Jessup on this one too, because they both won.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Beater family. That's 2 of you. 1, 2. 1 Beater in each division, winning their division.
Okay.
Actually, there were more beaters in each division as well, but that's beside the point. There were 2 beaters in Victory Lane, and Becca is claiming 2.
There's actually a great photo on that.
I was
is.
gonna say, I thought it was pretty cool. They parked their cars down in Victory Lane, and they did their Victory Lane, and it was pretty comical to hear them banter back and forth. They always do a really nice job. When they're really cool people to talk to in Victory Lane. They're really easy interviews, but both comical and interesting. And I thought they both ran their races really well. And congratulations to the Beater family, and I'm super glad that they brought everyone down and all their friends down to Oktoberfest, and I really appreciate that. My next one of the week goes to Travis Martin, because in the INEX Legends, Kevin Jensen and his 37 INEX Legend, he ran into some mechanical failures, blew an engine, and even though I believe he qualified for his feature, but obviously with the engine expiring, nope. Help me out. Anyways, he ran.
No, you weren't there. That's right. You weren't there. No, Kevin blew up on lap 1.
Thank you.
And Travis never ran.
Did he run Travis's Legend in the
Yes.
B main, qualified, and ran the feature?
He never qualified for the feature. He just ran it in the B main.
I thought it was really nice that another guy just straight up gave his car to Kevin Jensen just to let him try to make the feature. So I wasn't there for that, but I heard the story. I probably should have read the entire story.
This is true.
There you go.
But no,
Whatever.
It was a really good gesture from the Martin family to go through and give Kevin a car. Kevin's had such bad luck at Dakota Speedway this year. I mean, he's had 2 blown engines that have resulted in fires and a rollover.
Mm.
And in the matter of basically the last month of racing at Dakota Speedway.
Didn't his son Gus also have an engine expire at Dakota Speedway?
I don't think this year. I think last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was last year he had that engine go.
Yeah. And if I could have done one more, I would have done Danny Vane at the Gopher State Showdown. Definitely his biggest win of the race of the year so far. So his 5th win, and I would say that's probably his biggest late model win of the year. So I thought that was pretty cool for him.
First invitational.
Yes,
his first invitational win.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
Good deal.
Hear me sneak that
Go ahead, Mason. You can go, so you don't have to be last.
Okay, I guess I will do 3, which 2 of them will be from the same family. So I'll give a shout out to both Nathan and Troy Speeton for joining us at Oktoberfest late in the going. It was nice to see those 2 cars kind of roll through the very far west side of the pits, because we had so many cars at Dakota Speedway that the infield was full, the outer pits were full, and we even had cars parked out where you sign in at the pit shack out in that parking lot west of the track. So it was nice to kind of see those 2 cars kind of roll to the speedway. I looked over at John, I was like, oh, this will be interesting, because both Nathan and Troy are pretty fast. And so it was fun to see them go through the field, looking at where they actually started, way in the back. But Nathan...
23rd and 24th.
Yep. So Nathan, I just had this on my race
Nathan
pass.
finished 5th.
He moved up 18 spots, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep, he went from 23rd to 5th.
23rd to 5th. There we go. And then Troy went up 15 from 24th to 9th. So very good run by those two.
After going to the back, because Troy got called for a caution halfway through that event and went to the back and came back up to finish in the top 10.
That's right. Yeah. So awesome to see that they made it out there and were able to participate and have some good solid runs. And then my third win goes to Madison Speedway because they were supposed to have 2 nights of the Madtown Showdown. We just had terrible luck with weather. Like Friday, they were all set to go, had cars starting to roll in around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and they had a rain shower come through and wiped out racing for that night. So like, okay, well, we'll race Saturday, and they also have a rain date on Sunday, so we're still gonna have 2 shows. Saturday rolled around. I think they were supposed to start around 5 o'clock. And again, another rain shower showed up just before they were supposed to start. They had 132 cars in the pits. And fortunately, they tried for a couple hours trying to pack it in and just would not pack in. So Saturday night got wiped out, but they were able to race on Sunday, the 1st, and they had 117 cars show up. And so there was still a really good turnout for them. And kudos to the Madison Speedway crew for persevering. I'm sure they were just so frustrated and probably were just like, just throwing in the towel on the weekend at the rate things were going. But shout out to them for persevering and ended up having a really good night or a good day of racing at the Madtown Showdown on Sunday. So Jessup, what are your wins of the week?
Well, I've got a lot to pick from here. We're going to do a couple out of state. My first one, I'm gonna say is to the ABC Raceway as a whole. They had 205 cars across 4 divisions. Looking at the breakdown, it was 58 super stocks, which is an insane amount of super stocks for WISSOTA. 54 WISSOTA modifieds, which is also an insane amount of modifieds for WISSOTA at one event.
Is that
And
Oldie?
he is freaking the heck out. He is.
Is he clawing the wall? I can
Yes.
hear it.
He is asserting his dominance on that wall. And then they had 54 Midwest mods and then 39 WISSOTA late models. So all very good car counts and very deep fields of talent in all 4 of those divisions. And they were also battling severe weather issues throughout the entire weekend, and they did not stop even with the rain on Friday. They finished their heats. I think they started super late Friday night, but they still got their heats in, and then they finished racing on Saturday. So kudos to the ABC Raceway. They're my first win of the week. My second win of the week is I'm going to pick Johnny Carter. For I think was that his first time, John, in a IMCA stock car?
Yep,
Pretty
first time
much.
ever.
He may have done one off
He-
like maybe a year or so ago, but I don't really remember.
Yeah,
He looked
no,
really good.
he tested. He tested in it, but he's never. I don't think he's ever actually officially been a IMCA stock car licensed driver.
Won his heat, got second in the feature. It was really fun watching him learn how the car handled, and like Randy's got a great car to learn in. It's the cat's meow of cars out there, so it's a really good car. But it was fun to watch him race, and hats off to him for a strong weekend in that car. And we'll see what he can do in whatever he's going to be racing in this upcoming weekend, I'm assuming. My third one was going to be a little different here, and it is Jeremy Miller winning the 58th and last ever short track nationals at the Rockford Speedway in Illinois. And that is a Midwest legendary type of asphalt racetrack. A lot of big names have gone through there and got their upbringings in there. And, such as with time that and progression, I guess, is what society likes to call it. They like to build around racetracks, and then the annoying Karens who own businesses who build right next to it, just forces racetracks to shut down. So it's kind of a bittersweet type of deal. But Jeremy Miller's right out of Rockford, Illinois, and it's pretty cool to see him take home the 58th and very last short track national. And I got one honorary one. I don't think I'm going to get a red flag or a yellow flag or a caution
Nope,
flag.
we've done our first round, so if you have any additional ones, go ahead and speak them.
Shout out to Ty Wilkie. He's headed home.
Yes.
He's doing a lot better. I know that's been on a lot of people's minds and prayers, and we've been thinking about him too. So we want to give him a shout out for a good recovery. Fingers still crossed for you guys for smooth sailing coming out of this, and we wish you all the best on what's coming forward with you guys. So those are my wins of the week. And if you guys got any other ones, have at it.
Well, as we have an Ole transition off the screen, any more wins of the week?
Yeah,
as
not
Becca
really.
goes through more Oleisms, I guess.
I was
She's
attacked.
You're attacked.
I was
You were
attacked by my
attacked.
own cat.
I'm so sad for you.
Nope.
Hi.
And he's back.
Hi, bud.
Back
Well, he
once
wants some
again.
water.
Please
Well,
swap the
before
crap.
Becca gets mauled to death by one Sir Olong Johnson, we want to thank you so much for joining us for episode number 31 of the Track Packers podcast. Be sure, as always, to like, share, and comment on our videos, Facebook and YouTube, or subscribe on the various streaming platforms, Spotify, Google, and Apple, and give us a 5-star review. Thank you to our sponsors, Hitch Harness and Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro. It is a chilly weekend coming up at the Stock Car Stampede. You'll see all 4 of us there, and we hope to see you out there packing the track.